Hey guys, Alex here with Paragon Performance. Today we're going to be showing you how to install the Eightless designed louvered rear window with scoops on your C8 Corvette. This is a full replacement with the factory glass. It does only fit the coupe, but it will fit the Stingray, the Z06, and the E-Ray. They are made of a tempered glass, so it'll be just as durable as your OEM window. And of course, we are replacing glass. As always with glass, take the extra precautions. They do a pretty good job of not having any sharp edges on them, but sometimes with glass, non-sharp edges will still cut you, so just take those precautions. Let's get to getting this changed. All right, the first thing we need to do is actually get the factory glass out. I'm going to recommend that you have your local glass shop take this out for you. They are glued in much like a front windshield. And then have them clean up that adhesive left behind as best they can. Just helps with the prep work for you. And then don't forget, these do have defrost in them, so the connectors will need to be undone. The new ones don't have defrost, so we'll need to tie those connectors out of the way. But let's get this glass taken out. We've already had our local glass shop come and pull this for us and set it off somewhere safe. Now you're going to want to use a good glass cleaner or some isopropyl alcohol here, and we're just going to try to clean all the dirt and dust that's stuck in there. Just clean it up as best you can as we do glue some of the new stuff in. Now that we've got that cleaned, we're just going to take some masking tape and kind of apply it onto here. We're going to use that to transfer the marks on where we need to drill the holes for the scoops to bolt down. They don't have to be anything real precisely laid down, just covering the majority of the area on both sides. So. All right, so we're gonna take these side scoops here, get the studs installed in them so that way we can kind of mock them up on the car and then use those studs to mark the locations that we need to drill the holes, so these will bolt into place. Get into our hardware kit here. We're gonna take out all of these little studs here. Just like so. Set the rest of it here to the side. Flip this over, and on the bottom side here, you can see on each one, you're gonna have 3 threaded holes that these studs are gonna go into. And we are gonna install these in a way that on these studs, they've got an Allen key in one side and the other side is pointed. We want the pointed side facing up, as that will locate onto the tape better of where that stud is at. And we're just gonna screw them in here by hand. All right, so now we're gonna get these set on the car here and kind of mark out where our holes go. You're gonna wanna just kind of lightly set it here into place. And just try to fit up all your gaps evenly around. And then we're just gonna take and just kind of push down on it just a little bit. And it should poke holes in some dimpled marks in our tape. And then we will do the same for the other side here. But it looks like the bottoms actually line up with a hole that is already in the body here. And then your top ones here creates a dimple in the paint. I just like to take a Sharpie and mark it. It's a little bit easier to kind of see. All right, so you're gonna wanna grab a 8mm or a 5/16 drill bit. This will get you the just big enough hole in there so you've got a little bit of play so you can adjust and fine tune how you would like the fitment on your car to be. Let's drill some holes. Don't forget your safety glasses. All right, we've got the one hole drilled. If you are worried about getting shavings into the engine bay, you can lay some sort of drop cloth down here underneath just to catch some of that. It is the same fiber plastic material, much like the rest of this body is. So if you go nice and slow, most of the shavings here will stay up top, and you'll want to go slow anyway. It just cuts a little bit cleaner of a hole that way. So, well, what I'm gonna do, I went slow, so most of it's up here, and I'll just grab the shop vac and clean up the little piles here as I go. And let's get the other ones drilled. Peel our tape out of the way here. And we're gonna test fit it just to make sure they line up and that your fitment is kind of how you want it. So, look at that. Not too bad. And then we're gonna wanna test fit the other ones as well, and then we will begin assembling the glass to the panels. All right, so now we're gonna get the glass attached to these air scoops. On the hardware, you're gonna have a screw that takes a 2.5 millimeter Allen, a rubber washer, and a little plastic spacer. So the screw needs to be assembled kind of like so. And this essentially makes it so the glass sits here where this plastic spacer is. And then these screws are going to thread directly in. There are some small holes on these felt pads here. And then of course the glass kind of only fits on there one way. So you're going to have this smaller of the eared glass goes up top, medium in the middle, wider at the bottom here. And then of course the top one will be the last thing put in, and that is glued in place. But to kind of make things a little simplified, they have notched these. So you can actually start all of these screws prior and then just kind of slide it together. All right, so we've got those all kind of started and in place. We're gonna go through all of them and just snug them just enough, and then we're gonna set it back on the car and get all the studs lined up here so that way we can make the final tweaks to our fitment on the car, and then we'll open the deck lid and final snug these down so that way the glass is locked into place. And then we'll be able to pick the whole assembly back up and off of there again and move on to the next parts of it. These do not need to be wild tight. We are just snugging them down at this point, as we may still need to make some adjustments on the fitment. Now let's get it set back on the car and get that all your panel fitment here adjusted accordingly. All right, so we've got that adjusted here where the gaps are somewhat consistent all the way around. Now we're going to open the deck lid, and we are going to just snug down the bolts that hold that glass on. This will kind of lock all of that into shape for us. And again, these don't need to be real wild tight. Just get them fairly snug with your hands here. So. All right, so what we're going to need to do from here is we're going to need to take these studs out that we used earlier to mark the holes, take them out, flip them over. This exposes the Allen head side of it, because depending on kind of how it fits in there, we may need to screw these out just a little bit farther so we can get our nut that holds it in place started. Now they do provide some adhesive here with the kit, and they want you to actually apply a small bead down this outside edge and kind of where these studs are, just on this area here. That's ultimately up to you. I don't 100% see that that is necessary with the fact that it bolts down to the car, but we're gonna do it because they suggest doing that. The tube of sealant is actually the main priority of gluing this top piece of glass down, but you've got more than enough to do what you need to do there. So we're gonna apply our small bead and then get this set back on the car. And as with using any of this sealant, we're gonna wanna clean that area. Yet again, a little glass cleaner or some alcohol wipes will work. The tip that they give you with the tube of adhesive does have a pretty small hole. I'm gonna use that for this part here. We're basically just gonna follow this where the carbon flash meets the flat black underneath, and then run a little bit onto kind of where the pad is at for the stud, all the way up to this top stud. That's all the more we need to put on there. All right, and we're ready to set this back on. I would suggest having somebody help you. Just prevents you from accidentally sticking some of this stuff to the trim around the window here. You can always take stuff off as well, but just having somebody help you where the two of you can kind of keep an eye on it will definitely do it justice. So let's get this set on for the last time. Grab that center pane of glass. I'm gonna set my one stud in first. Okay. Set your rear one in. A little squish. All right, so it's set in place. We're gonna open the deck lid. We are going to grab the nuts that are in the kit, and we are gonna get this bolted to the deck lid. All right, so we're gonna be going after these three studs here that are sticking down through. If they're not sticking down far enough to start the bolt or start the nut, you'll need to push from the top and see if that cures the ability to be able to start the nut. Otherwise, you may need to back that stud out a little bit just to make it work. But for right now, we are just getting them started. We're gonna do the same thing for the other side. Now we're gonna go back through and just kind of snug those hand tight. We don't want them real tight, so. All right, now we're just down to the last piece of glass. This one is actually specific as far as which way it goes on. You should be able to read the logo here as that needs to face upright. And it's just gonna glue down in place right here. So with that tube of sealant that they provided, we're gonna need to cut a little bigger hole because we need a little more glue up here because that's all that holds this down. And I'm gonna run two beads here, one kind of on the inside here of the old one and one on the outside. And then we are just going to set it down in place and press it down firmly. And it should actually stay for us. There is cure time on this glue, of course. It does state to wait 24 hours before washing the car, that kind of stuff. I'd honestly wait the full 24 hours to even drive the car, just to make sure that it's not gonna fall off on you. Give it full time to cure and set up. It does need to be above 50 degrees for this to work correctly. So let's get it glued down. there you guys have it. Pretty simple install. Just mind that cure time on that glue. Get it all cleaned up in the meantime while you're waiting for that, and give yourself that Aventador or now ZR1 kind of style louvered rear glass on your Stingray, Z06 or E-Ray Coupe, and show it off at your next car show. As always, like, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you guys next time.